And moving over to Capitol Hill, the Senate is expected to vote tomorrow on foreign aid bills that passed the House over the weekend. The lower chamber approved billions of dollars in aid for Ukraine, Israel, and allies in the Indo-Pacific. But the move could cost Speaker Mike Johnson his job. Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene says she'll move forward with triggering a vote to remove him if he doesn't resign. Well, Nikole Killion joins us now from Capitol Hill on all of this. So, Nikole, let's start with these House foreign aid bills that passed the House. Do they face any opposition in the Senate? What's the future here?
Yeah, well, we don't expect too much opposition. I mean, you're going to have, as we traditionally see with many significant pieces of legislation, some senators may try to offer up amendments, but that is unlikely to interfere writ large with this larger process. And keep in mind that both the House and Senate are out this week. So I noted earlier that, you know, this is kind of like when you have to go into work on your off day. This is basically what the Senate is having to do. So this is going to be a pretty quick process. And let's not forget, this is actually pretty much the same components of the bill that the Senate already passed in terms of that funding for Israel, Ukraine, the Indo-Pacific. So, you know, the House broke that bill apart and is sending it back in a bundle. So in essence, the Senate is just voting on legislation that they have already approved. Now, the one big difference, of course, is that fourth catch-all bill that the House initiated, which does include a number of national security priorities, from sanctions against Iran to providing that this Ukraine aid is paid back in a loan, to also including a ban on TikTok. So there's kind of a potpourri of sorts in this fourth package. And I would say the future of that one may be a little up in the air from the standpoint of, you know, there were more differences here in the Senate over TikTok legislation and how to proceed. But it's possible this time around there may be support. That's still an unknown, but we'll have to see, Caitlin.
Yeah, I mean, Nikole, it was really fascinating to watch Johnson maneuver around this spending bill and eventually supporting it through to get passed. What is he saying about this effort from those in his party that want to kick him out?
Well, he's largely tried to keep his head down and get this legislation across the finish line. I mean, at the end of the day, that is his job as Speaker, to kind of shepherd these major pieces of legislation, whether that was government funding, whether that was this foreign aid package. And while, again, as a rank and file member, these may be pieces of legislation he may not necessarily support. As Speaker, he has that larger responsibility of trying to move the process along. And so in doing so, of course, that has frustrated many of his members who feel that he has kind of departed from some of those core Republican ideals when it comes to fiscal responsibility and when it comes to this foreign aid package. You know, many members feel like the border, U.S.-Mexico border, should have been dealt with first. Now, they did put forth a border security package that ultimately failed as part of this broader foreign aid package that was recently passed. But, you know, those are some of the brewing frustrations among members like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Paul Gosar and Tom Massey, who have all joined in this potential motion to vacate against the Speaker.
And Nikole, I want to play a little bit of sound from Tom Cole. He's the chair of the Appropriations Committee. He had this to say on Face the Nation about the possibility of Johnson being removed. Let's take a listen.
I take anything seriously, but no, I don't. Look, I think it's a relatively small number of Republican members, frankly, just as it was in McCarthy's case. There were only 8 people.
Exactly.
But the point is, I don't think there's unified Democratic support. There was unified Democratic support to remove the Speaker. I think both sides have now seen how dangerous this is, how irresponsible it is. And quite frankly, I think it's unlikely that Democrats who supported Ukraine, not as many supported Israel as we would have liked, but they did support Ukraine. I think they're unlikely to remove the Speaker over that.
So, Nikole, I'm really curious about that dynamic. I mean, how much appetite is there among House Democrats for Johnson to lose his job?
Well, I think it depends who you talk to. There are members like Congressman Cole there who said that there doesn't seem to be that desire necessarily on the part of many Republicans to necessarily move forward. He thinks it's a small group. Many still have, heartache from that 3-week period when McCarthy was ousted. So the short answer is, Caitlin, we will have to see. But for now, Congresswoman Green not necessarily dropping her threat against the speaker.
All right, we shall see. Famous last words. Nikole Killion, thank you very much. Appreciate it.